everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about the fact that the model you see advertising a product probably didn't use that product to build their physique, and they may have never even used it at all. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling at my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Now, some of this is going to seem really obvious, but those of you who maybe follow YouTube closer might want to listen a little further into the video, because we're going to get into YouTubers a little bit with this exact same practice. But this is stuff I see through my social media all the time. I see all these advertisements. Like I linked one yesterday for one of these leapfrog and grab ass devices. It's like X08 or something, and it's all these bands, and it's always got this pretty muscular chick always using it in their different ads. And people honestly are looking at it thinking she built her legs and butt and everything using this stuff. And it's basically assisted squats, even if you do squats and stuff with it, and she's always doing this stuff with it. But you know, you look at that physique and know she didn't build it using that. And the same thing, you see whatever that X3 trainer bar or whatever with the bands, it comes through the advertisements here. I see it on Facebook through my feed every day, and there's this one doctor advertising it. That doctor very obviously doesn't just use anabolics. You look at the way his stomach and everything is pushed out. He uses IGF-1 and probably growth hormone and all sorts of other stuff. Right, that guy didn't build his physique with these bands. In fact, he probably didn't even just use weights. And so you see all these devices, or you see this diet book being sold, or this supplement being sold, and you see this model being used to sell it. And here's a little hint, guys. I don't know how else to say this, but if you see someone who looks like they did a lot of weight training and probably used anabolics of some type, they use steroids to build their physique, if that's what they look like, odds are they used weight training and steroids to build their physique. I know it sounds crazy, but that's actually what happened. If that's what they look like they did, that's probably what they did. Actually, that's almost certainly what they did. All right, they didn't use that product. People are hired as models for those products. They may not have even used it, even though they might be the designer of it, even though they might be associated with the company. They really and truly might not even use that product. And keep in mind, a lot of these people have sometimes been working on their physique for 10 plus years, and then they come out with this product. They already had that physique before they even invented the product. And even if they do utilize it a bit, so then they can be honest and say, I do use this product, they didn't build what they did doing that. And oftentimes, if it's an inferior product, even if they did use it for part of the way, it was slower than if they just used traditional methods. You know, everyone wants all this gimmicky stuff, you know, and it sells. And it sells to the public instead of just saying, hey, you know, a little bit of hard work goes a long way. Hard work, your diet, everything else, that's what matters. Supplements don't really help. They don't do anything. If you're getting any benefit from a supplement, it's a placebo effect. Because even the best supplements out there, the best experts who research it say that the benefits are really, really small. We're talking 1% or less. For the really good stuff, the stuff that truly works, like creatine, that's not going to be enough that you should be able to notice it. Does that make sense? Like if you can notice it and you can actually see the results, that's in your head. That product can't do that. So you're imagining it as placebo. And placebo can be very powerful, but you need to understand that for what it is. But all these gimmicky products and diets and everything, these people are not, that's not what they're using to get there. And you look at stuff like YouTube. Could the same thing be applied to YouTube? I mean, that came up before when Brandon Carter, and I don't necessarily have a big problem with Brandon. I don't like the keto diet he's promoting, but at least he's promoting big exercises, right? He's promoting doing the basics, heavy basics. But, you know, years and years and years of training, and now he's promoting ketogenic diets and selling products all around it, selling books, right? But does he look any different than when he started doing keto diets? In other words, when he used to eat a high-carb diet, did he have the same physique, just as good of a physique, 3 years ago as he does now on the ketogenic diet? Yeah. But he's going to market it. This is what I use. But you have to look at that and say, okay, so even if that is what he's using, because he shows eating his meals and his eggs and spinach and everything, you got to look at that and say, but you already had that physique. All you've done with this diet is you've been able to maintain what you already built. Using this dietary approach that you're now selling, you've been able to maintain what you already had. But he's selling that in his physique. He uses his physique to sell that. This is the diet I've been doing for a year or whatever, and this is what I look like. Pow, right? And dude, you know, people see that he looks good. The dude's jacked. He's muscular, right? And no one's going to deny that. But he was already jacked and muscular with abs and biceps and everything else years before he ever did this diet. He already looked like that. So basically the marketing point would really be, if people were just honest about the marketing, would be, oh, I haven't lost my progress while doing this diet. I didn't make any changes on it. I haven't improved in any way. I've been able to maintain what I have, at least while incorporating it. All right. If that's really the selling point and you look at that objectively, it starts to be kind of silly for the people who think that if they follow what he does, it's just maintaining what he has. In theory, hopefully he doesn't lose some of it, because he might, doing that dietary approach in the long term. You know, people would look at that and say, well, wait a minute, he's not changing on it. So if I follow this, I'm not going to change either. I'm not going to look like him because he already looked like that. You guys see the problem here? Is that things get marketed and they get sold by people selling their physiques who may be using that product. Oftentimes they don't, or they're just using it while during their maintaining, or they're doing other stuff with it. Maybe it's part of their equation. Maybe it's not. You don't know that. You know, it could be a YouTuber selling a new diet or program, but you've got to look at their whole history and go, well, wait a minute. This person for 7 years did this sort of training and this sort of diet, and they already built themselves. They built their physique. They built the body composition and strength and everything they have, doing something totally different. But then all of a sudden what they're doing now becomes marketable. You guys see the problem there? Particularly when they're selling it, it would be fine. You know, if they're just putting out their routines and this is what I do right now. Here it is up on my YouTube. All right, that would be different, because people can see that and say, okay, well, that's just part of their progression and you know, everything else. But as long as they're not marketing and selling it, you know, it's when they slap that price tag on it, you've got to ask, have they changed significantly while doing that? And furthermore, even if they have, where are they at along in their development that maybe I don't really need that. Maybe I need to do what they were doing 5 years ago because I'm where they were 10 years ago. You know, you might need to look at it that way, but people don't, because this stuff gets marketed to them and it gets advertised to them. And you have people who did all this work, and maybe they used the basics for 5 years to build their foundation, right? They spent 5 years building their foundation with the basics, and then maybe they did or didn't throw some drugs in the mix. And now they're doing something different. They're using some product, some exercise program, some device, some supplement, some diet, some routine, after they've already spent years and years and years with the basics, and then they try to sell it to you. When the reality is you should just be doing the basics. They didn't get there doing that. Again, you see some new device come out, and you see someone who you know has years and years of hard training under their belt. They built that before that device even existed. You really think that device helped? You guys see the point there? And that's the thing. People come up with new things so that they can market something. You know, they want something trendy they can slap a name on. No one wants to just say, hey, you know, I just eat a clean diet, high in protein. You know, that's hard to market, isn't it? You know, people want specifics. You can't always sell that. You can talk about it, and you can make good ad money on YouTube. And believe me, the ad money is real good on YouTube. But it's real hard to sell that, isn't it? It's hard to sell. I don't know. I eat 200 grams of protein a day, and I just fill in my remaining calories with just healthy foods of whatever I feel like eating, as long as it's healthy and filling. And I track my calories. If I want to gain weight, I increase my calories. If I want to lose weight, I reduce my calories, right? That's hard to market, isn't it? Because you could sum that up in one page. But that is what they all do. That's what all these guys do. No matter what diet they follow, that principle is exactly what everyone does who changes their physique. No matter what name they slap on it or special combination they do for those remaining calories, they all do the same thing, don't they? Calorie surplus to gain weight, calorie deficit to lose weight, keep protein high, and fill the rest of your calories with something else, some other method that helps keep you full or lets you eat more if you need to gain weight, and try to eat mostly healthy foods. That's more or less what everybody does who's successful. But you can't market that. So it's always this new spin that people put on it. It's the new spin they put on it that they can slap a price tag on. Or they can market that this is what I did to get where I am. or this model, this is what they did, implying that that's what they did to get where they are, when maybe they've never used whatever that happens to be up until they did that advertisement. And remember, guys, the truth is, if someone looks like they did a lot of weight training and used steroids to get where they are, 99.9% chance that that is what they did. It's not that difficult to understand. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.